Hello and welcome back to English in Advance. I'm Jennifer, and I am so glad that you're here with me again today. You know, a question that comes up more than any other is, Jennifer, how can I speak English like a native speaker? And I love this question. I love it because it shows that you're not just aiming for a basic level of proficiency, you're aiming for something deeper, something more authentic. You want to sound natural, effortless, and confident. You want to connect with people on a genuine level, and you want the language to feel like a natural extension of who you are. This isn't just a goal, it's a dream. And today, we're going to make that dream a reality. This is going to be our most extensive, in depth, and practical guide yet. We are going to go beyond the basics and dive deep into the heart of what makes native speech sound so natural. We'll cover the fundamental mindset you need, the intricate music of the language, the secret codes of pronunciation, the rich world of native vocabulary, and the art of real conversation. My goal is to make this a rich, engaging, and genuinely human listening experience for all of you who are working hard every day to improve your English. So settle in, get comfortable, and let's begin this truly transformative journey together. Our journey always begins with the most critical component, your mindset. This is the bedrock of everything we'll discuss. For a long time, many of you have been operating from the mindset of a student of English, where you feel pressure to be perfect. You focus on memorizing grammar rules and avoiding mistakes at all costs. This, while a necessary phase, can actually become the biggest barrier to fluency. To truly speak like a native, you must transition from a student to a user of English. A user's goal is not perfection, but communication. The language is no longer a subject in a book, it's a living, breathing tool that you use to express your thoughts, your feelings, and your personality. The single biggest obstacle this mindset shift helps you overcome is the fear of making mistakes. I know this fear is real. It can be paralyzing. But here's the secret that all native speakers know. We make mistakes constantly. We stumble over our words. We use bad grammar in casual conversation, and we frequently rephrase our sentences. The difference is we don't let it stop us. We simply correct ourselves or move on. For you, mistakes are not failures. They are invaluable learning opportunities. Every time you mispronounce a word and a native speaker corrects you, or every time you realize your own error, that moment creates a stronger, more lasting memory in your brain than any rule you could ever read. It's a powerful real-world lesson. So, let's start our practice with a powerful mantra for our entire journey. Please say this out loud with me, with conviction. My goal is not perfection, but powerful, confident, and authentic communication. Say it again, even louder. My goal is not perfection, but powerful, confident, and authentic communication. This is the principle that will guide us through every step. The most striking difference between a native speaker and a non-native speaker is often not their vocabulary, but the music of their language. English is not a flat, even-toned language. It is a rhythmic and melodic language, and understanding its rhythm, stress, and intonation is the key to sounding natural and fluent. First, let's get very detailed about sentence stress. English is a stress-timed language, which means some syllables and words are said louder, longer, and with a higher pitch. These are our content words, the nouns, main verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, because they carry the most meaning. The other words, our function words like prepositions, articles, and auxiliary verbs, are said quickly and softly. For example, in the sentence, I want to get a new car. If you say every word with the same stress, it sounds robotic. But a native speaker naturally stresses the key words, making it sound more like, I want to get a new car. The listener's brain is trained to listen for these stressed beats to understand the core message. Let's do some detailed practice on this. I'll say a few sentences and I want you to repeat them, focusing on matching my rhythm and stress exactly. First sentence. The most important thing to remember is to just keep trying and never give up. Repeat after me, emphasizing the words in bold. The most important thing to remember is to just keep trying and never give up. Second sentence. I'm going to the store to pick up some bread and some milk for breakfast tomorrow morning. Repeat after me. I'm going to the store to pick up some bread and some milk for breakfast tomorrow morning. By practicing this rhythm, you're training your mouth and your brain to produce the sounds of English in a way that is immediately recognizable and natural to native speakers. It's a fundamental physical skill. Next, let's explore intonation, the rise and fall of your voice. This is how we convey meaning, emotion, and intention beyond just the words themselves. Falling intonation is used for statements and wage questions. Your voice goes down at the end to signal that you're done speaking. For example, I'm going home. Or, where are you going? Rising intonation is used for yes or no questions. Your voice goes up at the end to signal that you're asking for an answer. For example, are you happy? Or, did you finish? Fall rise intonation is used to show doubt, reservation, or polite disagreement. Your voice falls and then rises at the end of a phrase. For example, if someone asks if you liked the movie and you didn't, you might say it was interesting, with a fall rise on interesting to show that you are not enthusiastic. Let's practice with these different intonation patterns. I'll say a sentence and I want you to repeat it with the intonation I describe. First statement. I'm having a great time. Repeat after me. I'm having a great time. Second yes or no question. Are you having a great time? Repeat after me. Are you having a great time? Third fall rise. Intonation. Did you like the food? It was good. Repeat after me. It was good. Have you ever listened to a native speaker and wondered why their speech seems so fast, almost as if the words are melting into each other? It's not because they're speaking fast, it's because they're using linking and reductions. This is the secret code that makes spoken English flow so beautifully, and learning it will transform both your listening comprehension and your own speaking. Linking is when the sound at the end of one word blends with the sound at the beginning of the next. Well, it happens naturally in our speech and is a key to sounding fluid. Consonant to vowel linking. This is the most common type. When a word ends in a consonant sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound, the sounds connect. For example, pick up doesn't sound like two separate words, but more like pie cup. Getaway sounds like get-away. Read a book sounds like read a book. Vowel to vowel linking. This happens when a word ends in a vowel sound and the next one begins with a vowel sound. We often add a small I or W sound in between to make it smooth. For example, I agree often sounds like I yagree. Go on sounds like go one. Consonant to consonant linking. When a word ends in the same consonant sound that the next word begins with, we only say that sound once but hold it a little longer. For example, big guy sounds like big I, with a slightly longer G sound. Now let's talk about reductions. These are short, informal versions of words and phrases that are extremely common in everyday speech. You must be able to recognize them to understand native speakers, and using them will make your own speech much more natural. Going to becomes gonna. Example: I'm gonna go to the movies. Want to becomes wanna. Example: do you want to get some coffee? Have to becomes have. Example: I have to work late tonight. Got to becomes gotta. Example: I've got to go now. I'm running late. What do you becomes what do ya? Example: what do you think about this? Because becomes cause. Example: I was late because of the traffic. Could have becomes could have. Example: I could have told you that. Would have becomes would have. Example: she would have been here already. Should have becomes should have. Example: you should have called me back. Let's do some intensive practice with these reductions. I'll say a full, formal sentence, and then I'll say it again using natural reductions. I want you to repeat the reduced version, trying to match the rhythm and flow. Formal: what are you going to do this weekend? Because I have a lot of work that I need to do. Reduced: what you gonna do this weekend? Because I have a lot of work I need to do. Repeat after me. What you gonna do this weekend? Because I have a lot of work I need to do. This kind of practice is not about being sloppy. It's about being effective and authentic in your communication. To speak like a native, you can't just rely on the vocabulary you find in a basic textbook. You have to learn the lexical chunks that native speakers use every single day. First, let's talk about phrasal verbs. These are verbs combined with a preposition or an adverb that completely change the meaning of the original verb. They are everywhere in informal English, and mastering them is crucial. Let's take the verb get and look at all the different meanings it can have with different prepositions. Get up, to rise from bed. I get up at 7 a.m. every day. Get along with, to have a good relationship. I get along with all my coworkers. Get over, to recover from something. It took him a long time to get over the flu. Get by, to survive with just enough. We can get by on just one salary. Get through, to finish a difficult task. I just want to get through this meeting. The best way to learn these is not by memorizing a long list, but by seeing them in context. When you hear a new phrasal verb, write down the entire sentence it was used in. Then, try to create 2 new sentences of your own using that same phrasal verb. Next, let's discuss idioms. These are phrases where the meaning isn't obvious from the individual words. They add color, humor, and a very native feel to your speech. To be in the same boat, to be in the same difficult situation. We're all in the same boat with the rise in prices. To bite the bullet, to endure a difficult situation. He just had to bite the bullet and tell his boss the truth. Once in a blue moon? Very rarely. I only see my old friends once in a blue moon. To kill 2 birds with 1 stone. To accomplish 2 things with a single action. I killed 2 birds with 1 stone by stopping at the store on the way to the gym. Finally, we have collocations, which are words that just naturally go together. Native speakers don't think about these. We just say them. For example, we say heavy rain, not strong rain. We make a mistake. We don't do a mistake. We take a photo, not make a photo. The best way to learn these is through extensive reading and listening and consciously noticing which words pair together. Let's do a practice. I'll give you a common collocation, and I want you to create a sentence using it. 1. Take a break. You might say, let's take a break for a few minutes. 2. Make an effort. You might say, you have to make an effort to improve your English. 3. Get a chance. You might say, I hope I get a chance to see you again soon. A conversation is a two-way street, and it's full of unspoken rules. To sound like a native speaker, you need to master these subtle social cues. First, let's talk about conversational fillers. These are the small words and sounds we use to fill a pause when we are thinking, and they are absolutely vital to sounding natural. A long, silent pause can feel awkward, but a filler signals that you are still thinking and intend to continue speaking. Um, uh, these are the most common. You know, used to connect thoughts or check for understanding. Like, often used to introduce an example or a description. Well, used to introduce a thought or opinion. I mean, used to clarify or rephrase a point. Let's practice using these. I'll ask you a question, and I want you to begin your answer with a filler. Question. What do you think is the best way to learn a new language? You might say, well, I think the best way is to just start speaking, even if you make mistakes. Next, we have back channeling. These are the little sounds and phrases we use to show the other person that we are listening and engaged. These are incredibly important for making a conversation feel interactive and natural. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Used to show you are listening. Right. I see. Used to show you understand a point. Wow. Really? Used to show surprise or ask for more information. I'll tell you a short story, and I want you to respond with back channeling as I go. Me. So I was walking down the street yesterday, and I saw something incredible. You. Uh-huh. Me, and it was the biggest dog I have ever seen in my life. You. Wow. Me. I mean, it was enormous, maybe taller than a small child. You. Really? All of these concepts are meaningless if you don't put them into practice. You have to immerse yourself in the language. My best advice for this is a detailed, structured approach to listening and speaking that I call the 3-pass method. You can do this with any content you love. A short scene from a movie, a podcast, or a YouTube video. The active listening pass. Watch or listen to a short clip about 2 to 3 minutes long with English subtitles. Read along with the words and actively pay attention to where linking and reductions happen. Notice how the words you see on the screen sound connected and shortened when you hear them. The shadowing pass. Play the same clip again, this time with subtitles, and speak along with the actors or speakers. Try to match their rhythm, their intonation, and their speed as closely as you can. Don't worry about being perfect. This is a physical exercise for your mouth and brain, and it's incredibly powerful for building fluency. The speaking pass. After shadowing, turn off the subtitles and talk about the clip in your own words. What happened? What were the main points? What did you think about it? This pass forces you to use the language you just heard and makes it a part of your own active vocabulary. And never, ever forget to speak to yourself. Narrate your day. Talk about what you are doing, what you are seeing, and what you are thinking out loud in English. This might feel a little silly at first, but it is one of the most effective ways to build fluency and to start thinking in English instead of translating in your head. This has been an incredibly detailed and extensive exploration of what it truly means to speak English like a native speaker. We've covered the crucial mindset shift, the intricate music of the language, the secret codes of linking and reductions, the rich world of vocabulary, the art of conversation, and the importance of active practice. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. The goal is not to reach perfection tomorrow, but to make small, consistent progress every single day. A little bit of practice, a little bit of listening, and a little bit of speaking done consistently will lead to a truly remarkable transformation. Thank you so much for dedicating this time to learning with me on English in advance. Your commitment to improvement is inspiring, and I am confident that with continued effort and these focused techniques, you will achieve your goal of speaking English with naturalness and confidence. Until our next in depth exploration, I'm Jennifer. Goodbye.